A storm is gathering. The world holds its breath as NATO's flag flutters beneath darkening skies. But this time, the crisis isn't in Europe. It's thousands of miles away, focused on a chain of islands few expected to matter. Why is NATO's gaze fixed on the Philippines? NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a cornerstone of Western defense forged in the Cold War. It was built to keep Soviet tanks out of Western Europe, to safeguard democratic values, not to police the South China Sea. The idea of NATO concerning itself with the Philippines once seemed absurd, and yet, here we are. Reality defies expectations. July 16th, 2025, a date etched in international relations. The unthinkable has happened. In Brussels, NATO's leaders are talking about the Philippines, not Ukraine or Russia. The focus has shifted. This nation is now at the center of a global power struggle. China is furious, viewing this with undisguised alarm. Seeing NATO's interest as a direct challenge, the stakes have skyrocketed. This is about warships and the projection of power. We're witnessing the start of a new geopolitical drama, with the Philippines promoted from pawn to key player, the main characters, each with their own agendas. A Cold War alliance seeking a new mission, a rising superpower determined to assert its dominance, and a small nation caught in the middle. The question is, what happens next? What happened behind closed doors in Brussels, and what decisions were made? Deep inside NATO headquarters, a significant shift in focus occurred. The conversation turned sharply east towards the Asia-Pacific region. For the first time, NATO convened a formal meeting to address the situation in the Philippines. The trigger: China's increasingly assertive actions in the South China Sea. Chinese Coast Guard ships have been harassing Philippine boats. Vessels, disguised as fishing boats, are being used to intimidate local crews. NATO concluded that this is a direct challenge to international law. It's a threat to freedom of navigation, impacting all nations that rely on open sea lanes. This meeting marked a turning point in NATO's strategic outlook. NATO is now explicitly linking its own security to the security of the Indo-Pacific region. The logic is clear. If China disregards international rules in the South China Sea, what's to prevent it from doing the same elsewhere? While there's no immediate promise of direct military intervention, this meeting represents a declaration of solidarity and support for the Philippines. Brussels is sending a clear signal to Beijing: your actions in the South China Sea have far-reaching global consequences. So, why the Philippines? What makes this archipelago so important on the world stage? Why are global powers focusing their attention on this nation of islands? Geography. It all starts with location, location, location. The Philippines sits at a strategic crossroads, a pivotal point in Southeast Asia. Its unique position makes it a key player in regional and global affairs. Think of it like owning the only gas station on a 1,000-mile highway. Everyone passing through needs what you have. Its islands guard the gateway between the Pacific Ocean and the South China Sea, acting as a crucial passage, through which a third of global shipping passes, making it one of the busiest and most important maritime routes in the world. The sheer volume of trade flowing through these waters is staggering. If China controls these waters, exerting its dominance over this vital sea lane, the economic shock would hit everyone, rippling across the globe and impacting even NATO member states. The consequences would be far-reaching and severe. The Philippines, therefore, is the gatekeeper to this vital corridor, holding a significant amount of power and responsibility. Militarily, it's a crucial part of the first island chain, a line of archipelagos stretching from Japan to Borneo. This chain acts as a natural barrier, potentially containing China's navy and limiting its access to the wider Pacific. If China gains influence here, establishing a stronger foothold, the balance of power in Asia shifts dramatically, altering the geopolitical landscape. NATO's interest in the region is no accident. It's a calculated move to protect its own security and economic interests. China's pressure on the Philippines has reached a boiling point, creating a tense and volatile situation. Repeated clashes at sea, confrontations over territory, and aggressive actions have become increasingly frequent. And disregard for international rulings, specifically those concerning maritime boundaries, have set off alarm bells within the international community. NATO sees a treaty ally being bullied, a nation facing undue pressure and intimidation from a larger power, and a critical location under threat, a region of immense strategic importance facing potential destabilization. The time for quiet observation is over. The situation demands action and a clear demonstration of support. NATO is stepping in to protect its interests, sending a strong message that it will not stand idly by while international law is ignored and allies are threatened. The moment to show support is now, to stand in solidarity with the Philippines and uphold the principles of international law and freedom of navigation. Beijing's reaction: fury. Chinese state media accused NATO of being a Cold War relic, meddling far from home to contain China. Officials warned the Philippines not to become a pawn, painting NATO as a warmonger. China insists South China Sea disputes are for Asians to solve, not outsiders. This approach favors China, which is far more powerful than its neighbors. By involving NATO, the Philippines is trying to level the playing field, exactly what China wants to avoid. Beijing's real fear, a united Western front pushing back against its ambitions. NATO's interest could embolden other Asian countries to resist Chinese pressure. China's sharp response is more than bluster. It's a signal that its strategic goals are threatened, the stakes are rising, and Beijing is ready to push back hard. The region is now on edge. What's next? Expect more political and diplomatic cooperation. The Philippines will likely be invited to more NATO meetings, maybe even get a liaison office. This formalizes the partnership and sends a strong signal to China. This is a long-term commitment. Filipino officers will learn NATO's playbook. Military planning, cybersecurity, strategic communications. Next comes practical cooperation. NATO experts training Philippine forces in maritime surveillance and cyber defense. No boots on the ground, but a big boost in capability. The Philippines is also strengthening ties with the US, Japan and Australia, building a security network. For NATO, it's a way to project influence and uphold order without overstretching. The alliance game is on and the opening moves are underway. After the handshakes comes hardware. Joint military exercises. Imagine German, French and British warships training with the Philippine Navy in the South China Sea. This is no longer fantasy. NATO's naval presence in the Indo-Pacific is growing. For the Philippines, it's a chance to learn from the world's best and boost its own capabilities. For NATO, it's a visible show of commitment. Joint air patrols and cyber defense drills could follow, even humanitarian exercises. China will see every drill as a provocation, shadowing ships and condemning moves. Each exercise is a high-stakes dance. One misstep could escalate tensions. Military cooperation is a tightrope walk over a chasm of potential conflict. Both sides know the risks, but neither is backing down. The future is being shaped at sea. For Filipino leaders, this is high-stakes strategy, but what about ordinary people? A NATO partnership could deter Chinese aggression and protect livelihoods. But angering China, the Philippines' top trading partner, risks economic retaliation, lost jobs, fewer exports and less investment. The price of security could be economic pain. Public opinion is divided. Some want protection, others fear entanglement in great power rivalry. If conflict erupts, it's Filipino towns and lives at risk. The government must balance security benefits against real economic and safety risks. For 115 million Filipinos, decisions made in distant meeting rooms could change everything. For the Philippines, this is the biggest gamble in a generation. By courting NATO, Manila bets that Western security is worth more than Chinese trade. If the gamble fails, China could ramp up pressure, water cannons, economic coercion, cyber attacks. Without crossing into open war, NATO might offer words, but would it really fight over a fishing dispute? The nightmare? The Philippines angers China, but stands alone. But if the gamble pays off, the prize is huge. A stable, rules-based order and guaranteed sovereignty. China might think twice before bullying a nation backed by NATO. The Philippines could finally develop its resources and secure its place in the world. The risk is immense, but so is the potential reward. Long-term security and prosperity. The stakes have never been higher. We stand at a crossroads in history. NATO, once focused on Europe, now looks to Asia. The Philippines, once a backwater, is now center stage in a global contest. The world's power balance is shifting and the effects are felt everywhere. Security is now global. What happens in Asia matters in Europe and America. NATO's interest in the Philippines signals a new era of interconnected security. The big question, will Asia be dominated by one power or balanced by alliances? The choices made now will shape the region for decades. The world is watching and the stakes couldn't be higher. The story isn't over and your voice matters in the debate about what